Your journey never stops. A new adventure awaits you just a few clicks away. A road trip or vacation, a time to connect with those we care about. We take on the hassle so you don't have to. We are here to give you the freedom to go places. WopeCar. Rent a car in a few clicks.
Hi everyone, and happy New Year, and welcome to WopeCar Talks, Freedom to Go Places. So we are very excited in the studio today because definitely it's our first in-studio session for 2026, and we hope 2026 has been good to you so far. But we have a very interesting conversation today, something that's been going on for years, and see, many Ghanaians have had it, because why should that be still an issue in 2026? But before we dive in, we have two amazing gentlemen sitting with me right here who are going to give us some insights on why it's happening, how we could help solve it, and, all the tea. So before we get into it, I'll let them introduce themselves.
All right, so my name is Felix Owusu. I'm a planning manager at the National Road Safety Authority, Greater Accra Regional Office.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Eric Agyemeng, a research fellow and a policy analyst with the International Perspective for Policy and Governance.
Okay, hi, and thank you for being here today, and welcome to WopeCar Talks. So just as I mentioned, today we're going to have quite a very interesting discussion, moving in Accra, the transport crisis nobody is talking about. So generally, moving on a day-to-day can be so stressful for a Ghanaian when you think about all the trusky delays, hikes, the ride-hailing apps, all their hikes and prices, and not even forget the bad roads in Accra. Most people just want to get up, go to work, or go about their daily lives, but they have to think about all these stress, and by the time they even get to work or their destination, they are stressed, they are tired. Then how can they be very productive during their day? But even before I get into the questions, it's just a general thing I just want to ask across board that, do you think this is an issue? Do you think it's a problem that has been happening for years?
I mean, most definitely, this is a problem, and I mean, I don't think anyone is immune. I mean, when it comes to this issue. I mean, so I think personally, one of the things you would obviously want to talk about is sometimes, you plan that. Let's take today for instance. I mean, I plan to leave the office, let's say by 12:20, thinking, oh, maybe by 1 I should be here. But you realize that you get to the road and the traffic situation is different, and so sometimes you cannot even predict. I mean, if you are going to spend just maybe 20 minutes or even 1 hour to get to your destination, and so it makes planning very difficult. And when these things happen, definitely, once somebody is late for, let's say, an important meeting or wherever, then that is when they also tend to sometimes drive in a manner that is not acceptable, and you see a lot of indiscipline on our roads. So all these things account for the social issues, and sometimes leading to the numerous crashes we see on our road. So, typically, we all experience it one way or the other.
Yeah. So,
just as you said.
yes, just as you said, yeah.
So, just to add on to, because I could also relate in the sense that, yes, maybe someone wakes up they are supposed to get to work at 8. They calculate that maybe it takes them an average of 30 to 40 minutes to get to work. To them, when they get to the bus stop, they are supposed to pick a car, but then they end up wasting about 40 minutes just waiting for a car just because there's shortage of cars, which then affects them. And then, of course, their boss, they are being paid. So then it affects productivity, stress, and all that. And personally, for me to even moving out, going into the ride-hailing apps, an issue also is the whole price hike. I don't know where that came from, because now drivers are happy about the fact that, fuel has gone down. But we, the ride-hailing app users, we don't get to experience that, because in the sense that they're still charging what they were charging when petrol was very high. For example, today, you check your Uber app or any other ride-hailing app that you use, and then you realize that, okay, a distance that should take you about 20 cedis is now costing like triple the amount. Why is that the case? Why are we paying so much? So these are all factors that sometimes I wonder what the real issue is. Is it that it has to do with rules, government policies? Yeah.
Yes, so I mean, this is a very interesting, area, and I think, when you're talking about the issues, these are very complex issues, compounding issues, I must say, ranging from policy to regulation and even attitude on the part of, we Ghanaians, and so. And even the road, even the road networks and everything, all these things, infrastructure, also plays critical role when it comes to transportation issues in the country. And so, if you want to, talk about, and in fact, one thing that is, I keep asking myself, and ever since this whole conversation started, I keep asking myself, or people have been, I'll ask. Is there any a regulator in this road transport space? Which, in fact, earlier I had a conversation with Dr. Agyemeng, and then, but it's interesting to know. Yes, in Ghana, there is a regulator.
Wow.
You know, the Ministry of Transport, through their agencies, is supposed to regulate the road transport sector and its related activities. So, apart from the normal transport operators, we have, or the transport unions or companies. We also have the transport. When I mentioned transport-related activities, so the vulcanizers, the mechanic shops, and everyone who even sells road safety equipment. All those people are supposed to be regulated. But
What then is the main issue?
yeah. So the main issue here, for me, today I'm just going to be blunt. I'm not going to hide anything. Now, on the part of the National Road Safety Authority, like you said, most of the things it has to do with sometimes coordination. Of the various stakeholders or the agencies who are within or responsible for making sure things happen for us as Ghanaians. And so the National Road Safety Authority, like as I said, even though we are the regulator, I'm sure this is even quite new to you. And so once people do not even know about your regulations or your mandates, then what happened? And so that is one of the difficulties we face and for that I feel the National Road Safety Authority we should do better by engaging the people to let them understand. And it's not only the National Road Safety Authority, there are other stakeholders who also play major roles when it comes to provision of safe, reliable, and then sustainable transportation systems. The MMDAs, you cannot rule them out. Yes, and so the National Road Safety Authority is supposed to work with all these people to make sure we provide the very accessible, safe transportation system that we all, desire as Ghanaians. And so, like I mentioned, aside the ministry, which is the Ministry of Transport, you can talk about the assemblies, which fall under local governments, and then the transport operators, they themselves. And we, as even individuals who even use these services.
Yeah.
Okay. But before, let me even ask, WopeCar, right?
WopeCar, yes.
I believe you are a rental.
Yes, rental. Yes.
Company. Do you know you are supposed to also be regulated by the National Road Safety Authority?
Yes.
Are you aware?
Yes.
And so, have you registered with the authority?
Yes.
Are you sure? Okay, so we'll check. We'll check after. I'll check my records after our session. So that is fine. So basically, the law says that you cannot operate in this country if you have not been registered and licensed by the National Road Safety Authority. When you do so, you are operating illegally, and which also can attract sanctions. And so these are some of the things we also need to communicate out there so that people will not just get up and then get into the space to do, because we need to regulate the space. If we are regulating the space, there's no way, or we can prevent or minimize the various issues that we are seeing on our roads. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually, regulation is very important. But then now my question comes back to the fact that if all this is, just as you mentioned, we're supposed to be doing all this, then why is it so difficult to organize public transport for Ghanaians? What's the actual issue in there?
Okay. So with public transport, okay, let's say MMT Ayalulu.
Okay.
As a public transport,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And the private commercial is also
the trustees.
Yes. So which one? So let's define it so that we go through it.
Okay, so first we can talk we both. So we can start either from the trustee or the Ayalulu buses and.
So with regards to the private commercial, as in the trotros and the rest, I was discussing with Mr. Felix. You know, in Ghana, the informal sector takes 70% of total employment. It ranges from 70 to 80, and 80 within the formal sector. All over the world, the informal sector has been characterized by a couple of names. Some call it the shadow economy, the gray economy. By its nature, it is very difficult to regulate the informal sector because easy entry, easy exit. Look, I can just take a car and just go to Shiashi, and just pick up people and just drop them.
Sure.
You get what I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah.
So it is very difficult to regulate the informal sector. But that being said, as a country, okay, we are when it comes to enforcement of laws, regulations, we are really bad at it. Very, very bad at it.
But why is that a problem? Why should we be bad at laws and regulations?
Do you know, for a while I thought it was normal. Do you know when a car breaks down, the leaves, they actually place leaves there as a sign of breakage.
Advance warning.
Yes, but that is against the law.
Yes,
yes,
it's not supposed to be.
that is against the law.
A warning triangle.
And even the warning triangle, you're supposed to have two in your car, so one for the front and one for the
back.
Exactly.
Should be placed at least 45 meters.
Yes.
But there was something that I saw last year. The police were doing. I think stopping people, doing random checks to see if they have their warning triangle. I don't know if it's still happening.
I mean, it's something we do.
So the thing is, they pick and choose what to enforce. You know, you are not supposed to have a cellar 30 meters, close to the road. You are not supposed to even have that. But what do we see?
They are on the road.
They are on the road. So we pick and choose what we have to. If you are using a DV vehicle, yes, you'll be stopped. You'll be asked. Do you get what I'm saying?
I see so many DV vehicles moving so freely without them being stopped.
No, you need to have a logbook.
Probability that you'll be stopped.
So
as compared to
not being
with the other one. You get it. You are not supposed to even have, let's say, building equipment close to the road, but you can have people having sand and stones close to it. You get it.
Material.
So it's a problem, with enforcement. We have it. I feel we have the laws out there, but it has to do with strictly enforcing it. And if we are to go by it, I think most of these problems, because we have dedicated lanes. Are you aware? When you get to is it Tesano? You have lanes that have been marked.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But what do we see?
Free fall.
Exactly. So the laws are there, the regulations are there, but it's up to us to strictly enforce these regulations. So I think most of our problem has to do with enforcement. In as much as, yes, the informal sector is very difficult to regulate, but it has to do with enforcement.
Yeah, so if it has to do with enforcement, then who then do we go to for that problem to fix it? Because if the bigger challenge is enforcing the laws, then who handles that?
Yes, so now when it comes to the road transport sector, like we mentioned, government, yours is to provide the infrastructure, the policy, and then, yes, so all those things regulate. Now, let's say the commercial operators, whether the unions, and there's also a responsibility on them to even self-regulate their members.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's even self-regulation when it comes to...
I think I remember that from even when they need to increase their price, they regulate it.
Now, so even the fee fixing, that is also done at the ministry, in consultation with the operators.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, you don't do it in isolation. Yeah. Yes, and then you also have the enforcement, other agencies or organizations. So the MTTD, then even at the local assembly level, you also have, the MMDAs who are even on the grounds. Yes. And so when you bring up some of these policies, now even National Road Safety Authority, we also have some enforcement where we also enforce regulations or guidelines with respect to road safety. And so most of the time in Ghana, what we do is it's like we do things in isolation. And that is one major problem.
Definitely a bad problem.
But transportation is a whole system thing, and so you cannot just take one part. Let's say if one of the organizations is doing their work well, and then the others are not doing. We'll still not achieve anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, we are supposed to. That interagency collaboration has to work.
Yes. More of collaboration.
Yes. While we are construct. It's like. Now they mentioned, we are going to increase, or we are going to bring buses.
Yeah.
But that one,
So
is
the
it even sustainable?
Yeah.
Now, if you're even increasing the buses and then the lanes, I mean, your routes are not, you're not even expanding the routes. I mean, mind you, you end up having more vehicles and then on the same, I mean,
Stretch?
single, I mean, lanes that we have, and then they would even overgo or beyond capacity. It means the roads
Yeah,
cannot even
cannot
contain the vehicle. And
contain.
then
them.
this one also lead to unnecessary traffic congestion,
Yeah.
lead to, I mean, fuel,
Yeah.
cost of fuel, and then your vehicles. So in the end, and then also even the bad roads we have, you know, the bad roads are also spoiling our vehicles.
It
And that
is.
is why sometimes, I mean, the operators are also reluctant to even
Their
reduce
price.
their prices, even though fuel prices may reduce. So, like I said,
And even to certain places. I live along. I'm from Satellite. Okay, Amasaman.
Okay,
Amasaman. Amasaman, Pukwase, Medie,
yeah.
along that stretch. And I have a fair sound of bad roads, and it's very difficult actually even getting a lot of these trotro drivers moving out there. So
Yeah.
if
Even
they will
same
go
for
there,
the ride
then they would
hailing.
have to
charge extra.
charge
Yeah.
extra. You get what I'm
Even
saying?
with the ride hailing, because there are certain times where, let's say, I need to go to maybe Gulf City and
Yeah.
I want to do one of these ride hailing apps. They'll call, "Where are you going?" "Oh, I'm going." "No, I can't go." The road
Because,
just
yes.
because of bad roads.
Because you would have to spend almost like you spend quite a lot on maintenance,
Yeah.
and that is a problem. Okay, so if you are to take, let's say, a car from Accra, let's say Trotro, to the, okay, let me stop at Achimota.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop at Achimota, then I'll charge extra before going to, let's say, Amasaman, because I know that the roads are very bad, and at least I need to get something to make up for it.
Yeah.
So that is what I would actually do. Yeah. So
And in fact, that is what is happening.
Yeah, that is what is happening.
You have, I mean, the vehicle, once, let's say they're moving from Circle to Amasaman, but then they'll pick from Circle to Caprice to Achimota,
Yeah,
Achimota
yeah.
to. So in the end, you may be in the same vehicle, but you pay
More than
about
you are-
5 times
yeah,
before you even
that
get
you are
to your
supposed to,
destination.
yeah.
So, but in all this, it's because, like we said, because the space is not well regulated, and you also have a lot of, like we mentioned, if they were all supposed to be operating under unions,
Yeah.
it should have been better, because for the union, they go under the negotiation pricing. And so those who are not under any union and they are operating, as we call them, floating,
Yeah.
for them, because they are not regulated, they can
do
now come and
whatever.
then be charging. And so that is why there's also the need for us to also make sure everybody that is operating at least belongs to. You see, once you belong to a union, it's very easy dealing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you don't even know where they are operating, I mean, who is their leadership, how do you get to them,
Get to them
and then
and
regulate
then-
them? So that is why we all need to call for these people too. And then also the unapproved sometimes terminals we have along some of our major corridors causing unnecessary traffic. Yes, those
the
things
traffic,
also,
yeah,
like you
those-
said, should be
Yeah.
well
An example, a typical example is moving to La Paz from, let's say, what is it? More.
Yes, I experienced that.
That stretch.
That stretch.
And you know where the traffic is. The traffic is it's between overhead,
yeah.
Achimota overhead, the bus stop,
Okay.
Yeah.
to, let's say, along the Abofu stretch.
Yeah.
The moment you bypass
Yeah.
Over-
It's free.
I mean,
It's
the-
free.
Every time
Okay,
you're wondering
okay,
what's the
okay.
cost.
So you ask yourself why, and you see a lot of heavy vehicles being parked
By the roadside.
by the roadside, and the LI 2180 actually says that within an hour at least you need to report to the police when you have such
Exactly.
heavy vehicles
Breakdown.
parked by. Yes, but
Which brings me
get
to
it.
my next question, because the heavy vehicles, I thought there was a law that they're supposed to only use the roads at certain periods or certain times.
yes,
Was it a law, or was
it
is
was
a
more of
policy?
like a yes.
It's a policy.
policy
Yes, it was.
direction and
No, it's it's the LI the regulation road
2180.
yeah 2180. It says a lot about heavy vehicle. You get it? Yes, that probably maybe within this before 6 a.m.
Yeah.
you get it, but it's
Again,
it's
it
not
comes
as
back
Well,
to-
I think I'm yet to, because I have read that document. I mean, as I'm yet to come across.
First.
Yeah, where it says maybe you cannot use the road at certain times. Sometimes you may not have some of these things in the law, but I mean, as a regulator or even the ministry, I mean, they can come up with some directive which is also binding. And yes, so, but I'm yet to, I mean, find that particular provision in the regulation. I mean, And as we, that particular even regulation is being amended.
Okay.
Yeah,
Recently, I mean, portions of the Road Traffic Act, 761, was amended. That now even includes motorcycle for
the Okada bill and
fee
all that.
paying.
Fee paying because of
Initially,
the Okada.
I mean, you could use, so regulation 128 of the former 2180 says you can use motorcycle for, or prohibition on the use of motorcycle for commercial. That is fee paying, but you could have used it for, I mean, courier and then the other services, but not for passenger carrying. But now the Road Traffic Act, the amendment, the portions of it mentions or now have included motorcycles for commercial, that's fee paying. And so let me just even use the opportunity to even do some small education here. Now, even though the portions of the act has been amended, the president is even yet to extend to it. So even as we speak, it's not even a law yet.
Hasn't been passed yet.
And now, when even that one even goes through, we are left with the regulations, the 2180, which is also being considered. And so that would even operationalize the act.
Yeah.
And so in that provision, I mean, you have sections which spells out the things to be done for us to be able to regulate whether the motorcycle, quadricycle, or tricycle operations.
Yeah.
So we're using the same principle that you cannot operate if you don't belong to a union. And so for them, they have to belong to a union, and the union must have been registered and licensed by the National Road Safety Authority.
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't want to experience what we are currently having in the road, where we have a lot of free
flowing,
floaters. I mean, just going around and doing, and you are not able to regulate them. So we want to regulate that space to be able to.
But the issue is, you put it out there. Can we really enforce it?
Yeah. So that is what we all have to. That's why we all have to support it, in order to. And again, we mentioned earlier that there has been weak stakeholder collaborations.
Yeah.
Okay, so this time around, I think if we get it right, okay, and for all the stakeholders to understand, because the MMDAs also play a major role in this whole thing, and so as a condition, you are supposed to get, let's say, a letter of commitment from an assembly that when you come, we'll be able to give you a terminal to operate. Okay. So based on that, the National Road Safety Authority will give you the license. Okay. So when you now have your license as a union with your membership, which even the law requires that, at least you should be present in at least 8 of the 16 administrative regions. And you should have at least 100 members in each of them before you can even be recognized as a union. Okay, and then so having received your license, then you go to the assembly.
Okay.
Mind you, before you even come, assembly would have given you some places, or they are going to even earmark for you to do your activities. Then you go to the assembly, they'll give you the terminal, and then we also track their operations. But before, again, they'll be giving special training.
Yeah.
Okay, and the license, commercial license, and the number plates are going to be different from the ordinary motorcycles, so that when you see a commercial motorcycle, you know this is a commercial motorcycle. And then
with the passage of the Okada bill, what because it actually stipulates some of these regulations in the, the Okada bill was just passed. Not long ago.
That was just latter part of
last.
I think December or so.
This is when with the new bills.
Yes, with the new bills, and that actually commercialization of these Okada here and there. You get it? Yeah. Prior to that, again, where I'm from, I'm a Sama in that side. There are a lot of motorcycles, even before the bill was even passed.
Exactly. I mean, till date, like I said, even though, like I said, Parliament has approved, but it is not even a law, because President has not even assented to it. So whatever they are doing now out there is still illegal. Okay, and so that even can also account for the reason why we have so many. Those of you who have had the opportunity of seeing the number of fatalities recorded last year, 2000, I think.
Yeah, almost
2,949 people died on our roads, and this is a record. I think 35 years record.
This was
the highest in 35 years. Okay, and so looking at the trend, if we all do not do anything about it and be able to regulate that space well, I mean, it's even though the current government intends or has good intentions, if we don't do it well, if we don't get it right from the onset, I mean, it's going to rather create problems for us instead of even being a benefit to the country.
That's quite insightful, but this also brings me to another challenge, or I'm just trying to see if there's still a linkage to the fact of enforcement, where artificial shortages. of the Trusky buses when people are trying to commute to work and all that. So, for example, I think that happened I remember in December, there was a time where 37, there was this shortage of buses. After work, people had to queue for hours before, and then later the government came in and brought in buses and sort of, I think, short term solved the issue. For example, another example is when the Ayawaso West, when he also provided buses to people commuting to work. And yeah, so that's also another short term. So my thing is, I don't know if you guys have experienced artificial shortage in terms of like trying to get and not getting a car. What's the root problem for that? Because most Ghanaians are not happy with that because they just want to get to work. Why should I suffer to get a car to get to work? Why can't I just wake up, plan my day at 6? I want to get to the bus stop by 6. I want to leave exactly at 6. Once I get there should be a bus, or just like the other systems in different countries where there are specific times for meeting buses and then they move.
Okay, so with regards to artificial shortages, they come in two folds. Okay, so I think we just talked about one, what they call the short.
The short.
You get it. That is one form of shortage. But the other one, as in deliberately not putting the cars
on the road.
That I hardly doubt, because I believe there's a lot of traffic on our roads. You get it. I believe there's infrastructure imbalance.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cars in the system that our roads cannot contain. Okay. So I really don't believe that they are out there putting the cars, deliberately causing that shortage.
There's also, it's also a possibility that sometimes
I do believe.
Sometimes no. There's also a possibility that sometimes they intentionally park the vehicles to also prove a point that we need maybe fare increase.
I know. But this is on a regular basis. We are talking about on a regular basis.
With what we're experiencing recently. This is not something we experience. Year round. All of a sudden, it happened.
No, but for years I can remember, especially for 37, that used to happen a lot.
No, so there are some particular corridors you may, but this time around it was all over.
No, it's still there.
Yes, it's still there. It is still there.
So are you saying that? So they are still hoarding the so-called cars?
No, I only said it may be a possibility. Not all of them. Some may. And again, as you mentioned, sometimes if you realize as a operator, I realize maybe there's too much traffic, and then if I'm to take on this trip, I may end up spending a lot of fuel, and which was not going to be beneficial. So at this point, during this let's say peak periods, let me also relax and then wait till maybe the traffic is. Sometimes people can do all sorts of things, but. Well, I think there's the minister more to it than.
I heard minister? Was it Honorable Kwachio Fosu?
Yeah.
No, he made mention of these shortages, and they came out to actually debunk it, saying that congestion. And honestly, I really don't believe they are putting the cars out there. Okay.
So what do you think the main issue is?
So it's just congestion. It's just excessive traffic.
As I mentioned that, yes. So sometimes you could say, because of the traffic, I'm not moving. No. Because of traffic, I'm not moving to save my fuel. Sometimes when we close from work, sometimes either.
Yeah,
but you need to make sales. It's either you need to
make sales. But so for me, let's say that the vehicle belongs to me. Okay, and I'm not under any pressure. Nobody is chasing me for anything, and so I can relax and work when I feel the system is okay for me. That is me.
Okay.
Because as even a private, sometimes when we close from work, you tell yourself, is it that you leave the office very early?
Yeah.
Or very late in order to beat the traffic. Because sometimes when I leave the office at 5, you stay in traffic and you end up spending.
Once it hits 5,
but sometimes I leave the office like 7 and within 20 minutes I'm in the house.
Home.
So why would I? So we should understand some of these things. Maybe like we said, somebody may decide, because of the traffic, I will not operate. I'm not under any pressure.
Okay.
And again, because we don't also have proper. No, in Ghana here, we don't have scheduled bus. Where at this point maybe this person is I'm supposed to move. We don't have it. Unlike those who have had opportunity.
So even with now, with the congestion and the traffic, if we have buses that are saying that we are moving at 4, you I don't know, because if the dedicated lanes are to work, if we are to strictly enforce these dedicated lanes, So
But
the
even-
lanes are just
in
there,
fact-
okay, and the buses are just moving.
Yeah.
Then we can predict the time we can get
You
home.
know, with even this dedicated lane, I think I was in a lecture once. I mean, when I was doing my international logistics and transport, and I mentioned the lecturer was asking whether we have dedicated lanes, and I said yes. He didn't knock.
It's just the
because
face of it.
I mean, from what we are saying, you know, when you get to La Paz area,
Yeah, that
you see
road.
some shots. But does it even go through? I mean,
Yeah.
so that one he doesn't even call it a dedicated because it's too short.
Yeah, it's too short. So.
And you get to part of it when you get to car price, people are selling motorcycles and by sometimes washing on the road.
Yeah.
So we need to really enforce that. Even if we can't, okay, for instance, Senegal, you know, Dakar is just a model. And with them, they have dedicated lanes. You know, with our roads, the part whereby, with the world-built roads, the part where we have grasses and is it trees in between the road or the side of the road?
Is it the median? Are you
Yes,
talking about the median?
Yes.
Okay.
Those parts are used for dedicated lanes that other cars cannot come in.
Okay.
I don't know whether I get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it stretches from, let's say, one end to the other. So the bus is in there and it moves to and fro.
Another
That's the
system.
Dakar system.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's pure EV and it works perfectly. So if we are to emulate that, that would help. Or, as you are saying, we need to mark and strictly enforce it.
Yes. So in fact, I've also listened to several other conversations where people even suggest, you know, sometimes during the peak hours.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to decongest, one of the things you can do is, for us to use this high occupancy, vehicles, you know, the Yalulu and the rest. Now, if we are able to even during the peak hours, well, it may be a normal road, but we know maybe during the peak hours, we've marked, let's say, the outer lane, just one lane for only the BRT, those vehicles. And so all those using your private, you are not supposed to come and pass it. And then when you pass there, you shall be arrested.
Yeah.
If we are able to enforce, and so after the peak period, then we open it for all.
But then all I
You see?
keep
And
hearing is
that would also even improve the park and ride thing, which Ayalulu, I think when it came, those were the ideas they had that you can park your ride, go maybe drive to their terminal, park your private vehicle, and join the public transport, which will now bring you to the central.
from both sides. All I keep hearing is we need to.
Yeah.
Who is the we? Like,
Okay.
it's very
That's a good question. So everything starts with the government.
Okay, so the
We
government
need that
first. What
commitment
exactly?
And political
So
will.
what
Yes,
is
then
it
political
exactly
will.
that we need the government to do?
What exactly?
Yes.
Again, so you have actually given the mandate to, yes, we have the road,
National Road
Safety Authority,
in
the MMDAs are
the-
there. You know, you need to resource the MMDAs to work.
So are we saying that they are not being resourced?
No,
Very
they are
well?
not really being
I mean,
resourced.
I can talk from a National Road Safety Authority. Last year, for instance, well, this is a public, it's there. Everybody knows. So last year, for instance, we didn't have anything to work, and so
Okay.
last year,
So
for
for the
instance,
first year.
we struggled a
Okay.
lot. And personally, myself, I used to use my own, even to date, use my personal
Personal
funds to
funds.
fuel official vehicles when we are going out to even work.
Which shouldn't be the
Which
case.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
which
be the case.
shouldn't be the case. I mean, to date, the situation
get it?
hasn't improved, but we are hoping. They've assured us that
But would you get a reimbursement? Because I don't see.
Oh yes,
why.
definitely.
But it
But
would
some
just
of,
take-
some of those that you could get the receipts. As for the fuel, when you buy, you get receipts. But there are other things. You go out, you buy. Let's say you are buying water for your, your colleagues. You go out to work, and those things.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's just,
getting-
voluntary.
So as I
we
was saying,
support.
we need to really resource the MMDAs. You get
Okay.
it? Per the laws, they are supposed to receive a minimum of 5% of our revenue. Okay.
Do we even get 1%?
In practice, they do get more. Okay.
Okay.
And this was actually put in place in 1990. Is it 1992, 1993 when we were in, we actually got into constitutional rule and all
Okay.
that. You
But
get
that
it?
was way back.
That is way back. And we've actually amended the act, the Local Government Act. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's either the Common Fund, District Assembly's Common Fund, IGF, and sometimes they do get grants. But these are not enough. They need to take care of sanitation, the markets, the terminals, and all that. So
Okay.
we really have to resource the MMDAs. Or, alternatively, if you can even create a department, in these African countries who have been successful with these BRTs, they have more or less like an independent body that actually takes care of commercial transport.
That's separate from the government.
No, it's part of the government.
No, but then won't it still come back to the same problem because the government still needs to fund them, which then that's where the problem
so
is.
that can even be under the MMDAs, or it can be a department under the MDAs, or just resource the MMDAs to just work.
But is there a role or a part that the MMDAs have to do to get the government to resource them? Or because I'm just wondering how it works. Because what's the issue? Why isn't the government also?
So they just do the bare
priorities.
Yes, in terms of priorities, they just do the bare minimum. We are supposed to give you a minimum of 5%. Okay, if we can get you that, that's it.
What's the highest percentage you say in recent times?
Well, I can't actually put my mind to it. So but that's so we need to actually resource the MMDAs for them to actually work. And most of our problems in this country is if we do resource the MMDAs, most of the sanitation, transport, I think they'll really do well.
Really do well.
Oh, you get it?
Because I know in recent times the government they are always saying they'll fix it, they'll find a solution, a long-term solution to what they can. And every year we keep hearing this, and it keeps happening every time.
Yeah.
So my next thing is, what should citizens know? Like, what is real progress?
Okay, for me, real progress is when the car stops and the buses moves. Okay. I feel we've given too much power to should I say, the private sector. And I think the government should step up. And they should stop this fanfare. You know, we procure buses, it's a fanfare, poor maintenance culture.
Yeah.
Then we go back to it again. Yes, so February, we are expecting almost 300 buses by February. Yes, it will be the same old stuff, fanfare, poor maintenance culture.
What happened to the
then we go back.
culture that they started, was it last year, where they had, I think they were testing it out. Was it the bus or the train? Where there was a schedule from, I think, towards the Adenta Madin, that side to Accra.
Is it the EV?
Yeah,
vehicles?
the EV.
Are you,
Yeah, it's the EV.
I think it was the EV.
It works.
It works.
But it's just, I think I've seen along that stretch 2 or 3 EV buses along that stretch.
Yeah. So, in fact, to add to what Dr. Agyemeng said, so it's not just about procuring only buses. This is a system thing. And so, we should also look at the infrastructure. Okay, because if you are procuring more buses, and in the end, the roads, we are still using the same roads, the same bad roads, you end up even compounding the issues. Because you are bringing in more buses, traffic congestion is not going to improve. And so we should also look at, whilst you are even procuring more buses, we are looking at improving the existing roads, okay, patching them, providing all the necessary road safety facilities or furniture on the roads. And then also strengthening enforcement, as we said, because
it's key.
In all these things, if we don't enforce, and then as for interagency collaboration, we cannot also rule it out.
We can't, certainly not.
We all need to collaborate to understand. It's not like as if we are one. It's not like as if one institution is fighting the other over who is doing what, and we should all understand that this is a national issue, and that we all need to come together and then solve it. So while the government is providing the necessary resources, then we are.
But in Accra, would you say owning a car is a liability?
Oh yes. To some extent, because oh yes. Do you know why I said?
Why are you saying oh yes?
See, most of the time, sometimes you drive to even your destination, and even where to even park becomes a problem. And so sometimes you be in the car. I remember I was going for a meeting. I got to the place, but I couldn't even get a place to park. So I was in the car going round, and I was late. So you see, because of some of these things. Again, we all. If you have a car, it would be nice. You are going to wherever you are going, you can always. But
some people argue that convenience.
Because of convenience.
It's very convenient. Yeah,
it's convenient but. When it comes to, if the roads are bad, and always you have to now go maintenance,
yes,
and then traffic leading to you consuming more fuel is putting a lot of also pressure
on your
pressure on you. So even though it is good, but sometimes
it's good,
and because of the situations we find ourselves, it becomes like a kind of a liability to us.
When I think of liability, what actually comes to mind is the cost.
Yeah.
You get it, and how we actually classify these costs: economic costs and probably social costs. Okay, so someone might be in a traffic for a very long time, not being able to see maybe his child before the child goes to bed in itself is a cost he can't afford.
Can't afford, yeah.
You get it. So it's all about cost.
Yeah,
You get
and
it.
perspective, how you
yes,
see
and
it.
how you actually see it. Because when you get to, let's say, the mall, okay, heading towards La Paz, and you need to really struggle for a bus or trotro, you know, it's more or less like survival of the fittest.
And
Because-
also, that also has
know-
a challenge of, pickpockets.
exactly.
You know, I mean, there's always when I get to the bus stops and I see, I mean, a chunk of people there struggling for vehicles. You know, ordinarily, I tried it once. I mean, you know, at the National Road Safety Authority, we don't even allow people to sit and like pick up the buckets.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So one time I got to the terminal at Chimota and I saw a pickup had stopped and,
And
then
they are
picked,
all, yeah.
and I asked them to get down.
Yeah.
So and they were like, "Are you going to provide us with?"
Yeah.
And so ever since that time, I mean, I see the situation. I mean, so when even it comes to enforcement,
Yeah.
sometimes you see the vehicles are rickety. They're not even supposed to operate.
Great,
But
right,
because
yeah.
of, I mean, the high demand and the supply
They just-
is
Yes,
low,
we
we
have
cannot
to-
meet.
yeah.
Sometimes we just allow any, because if you stop them from operating, now who is going to
Who
put
is
it?
going
to-
to
yeah.
And so sometimes
Okay.
our maintenance culture
Yeah, it's
also plays
Plays
a
a-
role.
plays
Yeah.
a role,
But
yeah.
like we said, if like the systems were working, the unions they themselves have to self-regulate their members. You make sure your members maintain their vehicles before even they bring them to the road. Okay, so because if they are maintaining them
Yeah.
before they bring them to the road, we will not have the kind of vehicles we are seeing. And then as a regulator or the national, we are supposed to also protect our people. The quality, we are interested in the quality of service you render to the general public.
But you know, the tortoise, they are not really interested in that.
Yeah,
All
that's
that they are interested
Yeah.
in is the profit.
It's
That's
a
why I said
profit,
for
yeah.
us,
Yeah.
we have to make sure the service, the kind of service they are
Yeah.
rendering to the public is genuine. That's why we are the regulator. But like I said, because of some of these challenges,
yeah.
you're unable.
So
I cannot just get to a terminal and say, "Oh well, looking at your vehicle, I mean, there's no road ready,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
you cannot. Passengers will beat you."
But
Though-
yeah, that one, they will. But this is my very final question to ask. So, if you could change one thing in the next 60 days, one thing, whether it's to reduce the queues and pressure, what would it be? One thing.
Yeah.
Why don't you make it two? Let's make it two.
Okay, fine. What are the two things?
Two things. Okay, let me go. All right.
That's
So I'll
fine.
stick to it. For me, I believe we need to put a lot of MTTDs out there. Okay. And also the dedicated lanes. I'm very particular
Particular
about
about
that.
dedicated lanes.
The existing buses that we have, if we are to strictly enforce these dedicated lanes, I think it will do a lot
be
of
good.
magic. Yes. So these two things in the short term, that's what
That's it.
yes.
That's a
You
short.
agree?
Is a short term or long term? So in the short,
In
yeah.
60 days.
In-
In
okay,
60
so
days,
that's
short term.
kind of short term.
Yeah.
So in the short term, well,
One thing.
one thing I want to see changed, like you said, I mean, we are supposed to enforce or enhance our enforcement, and then also to make sure the terminals in itself, I mean, they are the MMDs are, as he said, I mean, resource to be able to manage the terminals well, and then so that we remove the unapproved.
Vehicles.
No, I'm talking about the terminals
terminals.
operating on our roads.
Okay,
That is
okay,
also
okay.
causing a lot of congestion.
Congestion
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So, because if you're able to remove those terminals along the major corridor, so that brings me to, I mean, you know, there's one terminal, they've artificially created a terminal around the Pukwasi, footbridge, the Pukwasi footbridge. And so, I mean, in fact, we are in talks with the assembly.
Yeah.
In fact, the assembly is trying to relocate that terminal from there and move it to another so that we are able
No, but
to
you
free-
know, if you are to get two police officers out there, MTTD, okay, out there to just control it, it will just move.
Yes, but I
You
mean,
get what I'm
I
saying?
mean, is,
Yeah,
it, so
it
you ask,
will-
is this
it-
one
it-
sustainable? Sometimes I believe in not punishing because asking the police officer to always go and stand is
Yeah,
is
it's
kind of
also
like
not
punishment.
sus-
And then
yeah,
if
in the
so once
sun.
the officer is not there, then
What
the situation
happens?
returns. So
Okay.
if the system can be used to, I mean, change it permanently,
That
and
would
so
be a
that would be
great-
that would be so.
Any final words?
So I think this is a very interesting topic, and as a nation, we should all take it seriously because transportation, as we said, is not planning transportation. It's not optional. It is something we all need to, I mean, do and get it well. Because if you do not do this, and mind you, it is a road safety issue. Transportation is not just anything. It's also a road safety issue because if you are not able to get, like I said, get our things done well, it will lead to, I mean, the increase in crashes we
Yeah.
see on our roads, where a lot of people are, I mean, dying out
Dying,
of
which could be
unnecessary.
prevented.
Yes, and so as a nation, and then all of us put
We all have
together,
a part to
we all
play
have a
in
part
it.
to play to make sure, I mean, as the systems are working perfectly for all of us.
Yes,
As
just
you
as you said,
said.
yes. But yes, it affects every aspect of our life, our work life, our social life. You get it. So we should stop this fanfare. We should stop this temporal fix, this band-aid solutions, and let's tackle the structural problems. And I think if we are to do that, things will get better. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much. We definitely all need the freedom to go places. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And until our next episode, stay safe on the roads.
Your journey never stops. A new adventure awaits you just a few clicks away. A road trip or vacation, a time to connect with those we care about. We take on the hassle so you don't have to. We are here to give you the freedom to go places. WopeCar. Rent a car in a few clicks.